so much, dear Kira. Thank you, Carla. Thank you to my ISM friends for joining. So I hope that there are a couple of alumni and also many current ISM students. Maybe I should start. Oh, okay. I hesitated between showing you the slides on my face. I said, okay, let's start with the slides. And if you are patient enough, at the end, when we do the Q&A, then I will show you my face, because juggling between the two was not so easy for me. So I graduated indeed from a PhD at ISM, very proud of it. I have to, full disclosure, it took me a very long time, but it's not because of ISM, it's not because I'm slow, it's because I kept on publishing books in between instead of doing my thesis, which is very bad. But as a result, so I have been running a company in neuroscience for 16 years now. And our motto is that research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. So I stole it from the guy who got a Nobel Prize for inventing, discovering the vitamin C. So the idea is you don't need necessarily to generate more data. You can just look at it in a different way. So indeed, we are very proud to do neuroscience in an ethical way. So with many partners, we are, for instance, certified from the French government of Éducation nationale and Enseignement supérieur as an innovative partner. We are certified B Corp and we work with many universities. And our clients, I put you a little overview of the brands, the companies we are working with. So what we do indeed is we help them understand people from the inside to decode their behavior, that's called insight, and to predict also their behavior, that's called foresight. So you see, we do insight and foresight. So actually the book is called Frontiers in Product Innovation Strategy. So I put the cover here. So that's a book I extracted most of what I will present to you this afternoon. Yeah. So actually, I have been writing around, I think it's my 10th book. So that's why I was a bit slow with my PhD. You know, everything comes when you are patient. And I must say, ISM was very flexible. So I don't know. Maybe they are not anymore today. I don't know. I hope it's okay if I said all that. Alors, so let me start by insight, foresight. I think when you are busy with product strategy, you need to get some inspiration. So there are several sources of inspiration that you can have. So one of them, for instance, is looking at other civilizations. What are they doing in another country, in another culture? Another one is looking at ancient civilization. So you might laugh, but actually in ancient time, they already had many things. They had a freezer. You know, in Jordan, they were eating ice creams thousands of years ago because they were doing it in the caves, you know, so they didn't need a fridge to keep their ice cream cool. So there's always some substitution products that are very smart in ancient civilization, or the way they were, for instance, using the cold air in the desert at night in Iran to make sure that the buildings then were cool during the day as well. Another source of inspiration is science fiction. So I think the most famous example is, for instance, Alexa. Alexa, Jeff Bezos explained how it was inspired by the voice, you know, in Star Trek. So he was directly inspired by this voice in Star Trek. So that's what gave him the idea of the device. And another one is, of course, being inspired by other industries. So the example I selected for you today is a company who did exactly that, who got inspired by other industries. It's McCaffeine. We'll be talking about it. But what is important is that all that, other civilization, ancient civilization, other industry, science fiction, all that is rooted in people, in nature. So if you look around you, you will necessarily see the same things, because people who got inspired 1,000 years ago, in fact, they were inspired looking around them. So if you look around you, the nature didn't change so much. You are likely to make also discoveries with biomimetism points. So I hope I'm not going too fast. If you have questions, complaints, please post them in the WhatsApp. And at the end, I will be happy to review all that. Also, if you have difficulties to see how it applies to your business, to your country, I think that's great that you can type your questions. So I selected a case study from India. So the brand is called McCafe. So nobody knew about this brand 8 years ago. And now it's killing it. So you have all the Bollywood celebrities like Alia Bhatt that are promoting it and so on. It's a bit like the Red Bull of personal care. So what they did is they took coffee that usually you would drink, that I'm drinking right now actually, and they made like a shower gel out of it, creams, a lot of beauty and personal care products. Even what you see is not really coffee beans, it's soap. You know, how cute is that? So they are distributed now in, don't quote me on that, but I think it was 20,000 stores throughout India. It's huge. And they became profitable this year because it's a lot, of course, you can imagine, of investment in R&D, in product, and so on. And so they are a great example of D2C, of a direct-to-consumer company, because they started via Amazon, via, of course, social media, via influencer, and then they got referenced in the shop. A little bit like Red Bull, who ended up in the distribution channel, but didn't start like that. They started in nightclubs, they started in many different places. So they created a game changer. McCafe created a game changer. How did they do that? So this framework is complex to read, but I like it for the colors, so I will explain it, it's okay. Alors, so the story is following. If you look at your competitors, if you do benchmarking, people like benchmarking, you know? People like opening Excel files and typing many things about competitors. If you do that, the thing you will end up with is optimization, best practice. It's good. I mean, you don't want to do sillier than your competitor, but you will probably not come up with game changer like that. If you look at the jobs to be done, so that's the red line, then it's already better because you look a little bit under the what the competitors are doing. You look a bit more in direction of the customer. What do they want to do? And then you will see also substitution products. You say, okay, I understand. I thought my competitor were this guy, but in fact, the client was not hesitating between a phone and a smartwatch. For instance, he was not hesitating between two smartwatches, but was hesitating between a phone and a smartwatch. So your substitution products, you discover them like that. But the only way to find game changer is to look at the deep needs. So the deep needs is physiologically what is making people who they are. And that's what McAfee did. And they created a game changer like that. So what is this deep need they discovered? Very simple. It's our addiction to coffee. So it's the addiction to coffee. So what we do with my company is we look into neuroscience, hormones, sensory perception, microbiome. And here I introduce you opioid receptors. So opioid receptors are throughout your body. You have mu, delta, kappa opioid receptor. Each of them is specialized in different substances. Yeah? So for instance, if you are addicted to sugar, it's the mu receptor that are responsible. So people who have more of these receptors, they have a sweet tooth, so that can be problematic. If you do not have delta receptor, that's the one in the middle, you are not attracted by alcohol at all. So if you met people who never drank alcohol, and not for religious purposes or whatever, you know, just because it's like it's disgusting them, they might have this absence of delta receptor. And finally, the kappa receptor, people who are addicted, for instance, to who love peanuts or green tea or coffee, it's the kappa receptor. So people who love coffee, of course, they will also like the idea of having their personal care products with a nice, you know, smell, nicely brewed shower gel or things like that. So understanding that what is beyond these people drinking coffee is not just to be awake, you see, it's also because there is an addiction to the substance was the key to success. Also, when you see their range, they started with coffee, But very quickly, they expanded to green tea, also kappa receptor, to cacao also. So somehow they are adding now other substances that still contain caffeine for most of them, but they are having a bigger portfolio. So if I should summarize Insight Foresight, I think Insight Foresight is a bit fake discussion because you need to understand people today to know how they will behave tomorrow. So I put a little framework so that you can understand how all that is working. So
as a result of...
Sorry,
go ahead.
Okay. So I thought maybe it was a question or a big complaint. I say, oh, I have to stop. Okay. So, or maybe, yeah, okay. So what you have in, so this explains actually how you can predict things. That's the only way to predict. The needs, you need to understand the needs. So for instance, I like to show off. Yeah, actually it's true, but then you have the realm of possibilities. So the realm of possibilities is all the advances in technology, but not only, also in society, in how people live, how they behave. And for instance, today you have social media and you have mobile phones. So that's, at some point, that was a new realm of possibility. And the solution that fitted best then was a selfie camera. Yeah. In the past, in Venice, when they were doing beautiful mirrors, people who wanted to show off, then the realm of possibilities was, for instance, to have mirror around them or to get a painting, At that time also, I read very interesting that the grand maîtres that were the master that were doing painting, they were also asked by the celebrity to retouch, their face because they didn't like it. So nothing really changed because the needs, the deep needs, they never change. The realm of possibility is evolving every day, and the best solution at the moment in time is therefore different. So that's important to understand that we never create needs. This is not true. We create new solutions to existing needs. Yeah. So for instance, an iPhone, people needed to communicate before, but maybe they were using a tam-tam or they were sending a messenger. Yeah. People always needed to go from A to B, but then maybe faster, then maybe with GPS navigation, and then maybe with teleportation. So I think, so it means that if you understand the deep needs, if you have a good overview of the realm of possibility, you are in the best place to predict what will work, what will not work. So a last point that I wanted to share with you before the question is how to do that. How to do that because, and that worked very well for MCaffeine and for other companies that are very successful, is adaptive management. So I encountered adaptive management the first time with my team in China. My Chinese team, they told me, oh, Diana, it's horrible. You change your mind 5 times a day. You are like a typical Chinese boss. Oh, I took it as a compliment. It was funny. And I was like, oh, am I really changing my mind 5 times a day? And then I realized, yeah, actually, yes. But what I was changing was not the objective. I never changed the objective. But what I was adapting is the way to achieve it. So it's a bit like when you have a GPS navigation, you calculate your route. There's a traffic jam, you will recalculate your route. Yeah. So adaptive management is not about having a changing objective. No, the objective is the same, but the way to reach it will be adapted. And this is very important if you are in an environment that is emerging with a lot of risk changing. So NASA, for instance, is using adaptive management. So I summarize for you what is different. Yeah. So instead of sticking to goals, you stay true to principle. Yeah. Instead of following a plan, you grab opportunities. Instead of tracking transaction and history, you try to predict behavior. Instead of getting lost in details, you focus on the game changer. No benchmarking of competitors, instead understanding customer. We never did it before. Maybe you heard that. It should be, sure, let's try. Do business as usual should be instead take measured risks. and grow fast should be developed organically. So I think that's one of the tool also, because I wanted to show you what you can achieve, by predicting things and understanding customer. But I also wanted to share with you how you can do it. So it's also a management style that needs to be put in place. So to summarize, I would say that to be able to predict market outcomes, you need some knowledge. You need to understand the context. You need to understand the deep needs. You need to understand the possibilities. But you also need a mindset. You need to be ethical. I think that's important. Lean whenever you can, and adaptive. Yeah, so flexible in the way you achieve things.